Musilla, Georgia, home to Crawford County native Edward Harris, the new chief of law enforcement for the Georgia Forestry Commission. Day in and day out, he protects millions of acres of timberland across the state. But his story began much closer to home, on a dairy farm, where hard work and responsibility were a way of life. Under the tutelage of his grandfather, Charlie Frank Harris, Edward learned service, leadership, and commitment to community, values that have carried him from farm to fields to Georgia's forests. The Harris family name, not just remembered in Crawford County for decades of agricultural leadership, but also for instilling in Edward the dedication that shapes every decision he makes as chief. Before there was a badge, there were chores. Before the title of chief, there was the farm. John Harris, or Edward as he's known back home, grew up in Crawford County where red dirt and hard work weren't just part of the land, they were part of life. What was it like growing up around your family's dairy farm, being around all that? Any memory that you recall that kind of really shaped who you are today?
It was a blessing to grow up on the family dairy. And the memory that really stands out to me was the family that's always up here working. My grandfather, my grandmother, both my uncles, my cousins, every day. You know, it's just memories of spending time with them, playing in the yard as a kid, playing down in the creek bottoms, playing in the pond, fishing. So that's the greatest memories is just spending time with family, getting to grow up with them.
Responsibility. It's always been the Harris way. Edward's late grandfather, Charlie Frank Harris, left a legacy that still echoes across Crawford County, through Farm Bureau, through neighbors, most of all, through the example he set.
He was a man of faith, and he's never been a really materialistic thing, and he put his faith in God to make sure that the family was taken care of, that the farm thrived, and that really stood out to me. He never worried about anything that I saw growing up. He never raised his voice. He never had a temper. He always had a smile. He welcomed anybody from the community up here on the farm, and that just really stood out to how big of a humble of a person he was, that he just relied on faith and friends and family.
Yeah, and I talk about that family legacy, Edward. How much did that legacy play a role in you wanting to become president of the Crawford County Farm Bureau?
Well, it definitely played a huge role in it because I saw the impact that he had, and growing up around him and growing up on the farm and the family, they was always involved. So, of course, there was many late night meetings when I was a little kid, going to Jekyll Island to the conventions, just growing up in it. I knew that this was a path that I kind of wanted to follow. And with my father being a full-time farmer for several years along with him, I knew that farming was in my blood. So I wanted to live on that lifestyle, that tradition. And that's the main thing, was tradition. I want to keep that going. And I'm already raising my daughter up, kind of following that same path as well, and I would love to see the tradition carry on to a 5th generation.
At just 18, Edward joined the local fire department, volunteering when others stayed home, running toward smoke when others ran away. A choice that would quietly shape his future.
Initially, I wanted to be a game warden. So that was my initial interest, was to be outside, be in nature. And also with the fire department side, that's public safety as well. So that's what struck my interest in public safety law enforcement.
And today, nearly 2 decades later, those lessons led him to his current role, to this moment, to this badge, as Georgia's new chief of law enforcement for the Georgia Forestry Commission. His path began with motor carrier patrols on Georgia highways, then deeper into the woods, investigating timber thefts and protecting landowners. Now, he leads the men and women tasked with safeguarding 25 million acres of forest. Now that you're chief, what are some of your priorities that you really want to focus on?
A lot of the priorities I want to focus on now is trying to get back to the community. We already do the wildland fire investigations. We enforce the timber laws of the state of Georgia. And one thing that I would like to do is try to see us get more into the emergency response, helping the Department of Public Safety, helping DNR, get back in these communities after natural disasters and let them know that yes, we are law enforcement, but we're also here to help this community that's affected.
Ask him why he does it, and Edward points back here, to Crawford County, to the dairy farm, the firehouse, and the family who shaped him.
Well, I like to joke and tell everybody I got 2 full-time jobs. And so I got the Georgia Forestry during the day, during the week, and when I get off, it's come find something to do, whether it's mowing pastures or if it's hay season, cutting, baling hay or checking on newborn calves. There's always something to do. So a lot of afternoons and weekends is dedicated to the farm. And I joke with people and say, this is my relaxing place. This is where I decompress. This is where I want to be.
Edward Harris, the farmer's grandson, the firefighter, the lawman, rooted in service, branching into legacy. Proof once again that no matter how far we go or how high we rise, home has a way of shaping who we are and who we serve.